and welcome to Talking TSM, the Game House's talk show about TSM's LCS team. I am Robert Haynes, your host and your guide into the world of TSM's LCS team. Oh man, I've said that 51 episodes now. Craziness, honestly. Again, super supportive, or super thankful for your guys' support with this show. It's just it has almost become a therapy session for me in terms of talking about TSM, and I hope it is the same for you. Yeah, I mean, let's kind of talk about real quick. You know, TSM are in a good spot. It was a nice weekend, to say the least. Was it a perfect weekend? No. But do we take those? Absolutely. So let's dive into it. First game, FlyQuest. Our arch nemesis. Sorry, words. Our arch nemesis. A team where we, for some reason, just cannot figure it out against them. But, you know, they've got the new team and everything, and they are obviously better. But, yeah, let's just jump into it. So, when looking at the draft, I actually really like our draft. So, you know, for starters, we got the Viego and the Gwen ban. I like it. We didn't ban Akali, which I know she's not as good right now, but still, you know, a little worrisome. But we also didn't ban Set for the first time this weekend. I don't know if he got nerfed or not. I don't know. I don't think he did. We just haven't seen Set really in the LCS, which is kind of surprising because he is a very impactful champion. I'm still waiting for the day that we see him. Don't worry, Set is not going to become my Galio. And I do have a real way of putting Galio into it this week, so that'll be fun too. I love the Nocturne and the Rel combo for us. I love the fact that we finally get to see the rise out of Power of Evil. Ugh. I'm telling you, TSM must be listening. Man, I'm convinced at this point, guys. Because I've been begging for Rise. Like, please. This champion's so perfect for him, and we finally get to see it. I will say, when looking at our comp, I look at the Nocturne and I think, okay, who's he going to jump onto, right? Because Aurelia's not a great target, not a bad one. Lee Sin, again, not great, not bad. LeBlanc, pretty bad. And Xayah, pretty bad. Like, any champion he jumps onto, he can't really stick to. Which is a bit of a problem when you're playing Nocturne, because that's kind of the point. You know, you have 3 champions with a jump and one that goes invulnerable. And then, even the Rakan, you jump onto the Rakan, guess what? He can jump away too. I mean, this team is just jump, dash, you know, whatever you want to say, can get out of anything. So, when I see that, I'm like thinking, hey, you know, that's not ideal, but the rest of our team I'm pretty okay with. And that's where I will say the Rel ultimate with the Nocturne, I think, makes it at least a little bit easier. Plus, you know, if you really want to, and you just like combo it with Nocturne ultimate, Diana ultimate, Rel ultimate, with, you know, potentially being able to lock them down with an Aphelios ult, or at least just the Gravitum, the purple gun, with, you know, Runaan's Hurricane into Power of Evil, just pumping out damage. You know, that would have been really cool to see. I don't think we see that in this game, but, you know, the idea behind the whole build of the team is really solid. I know that Rel got nerfed, but, like, I'm still a little surprised we don't see her more often. I actually do think Galio would have been a good pick here too. Regardless, you know, I do say I don't love the Aphelios without the Thresh, but he's still a good champion. And they're clearly going to win skirmishes, but there's no way they're ever going to walk into us with a team fight. Like that when I look at this team comp, I think, okay, we've got good scaling in both of our both of our carries with the Aphelios and the Rise. We also have good early game with the Nocturne and the Diana. And we have great team fight. And we even really have good skirmishes. Like truly, guys, this is like a near perfect type of team comp for our team specifically. You allow Huni to make the game, changing plays. You allowed for Sword Art to roam and for, to engage and to have an impact. You allow for Spica to be aggressive, to get in on team fights. You allow Lost to sit back, do the damage, make the plays, use his brain, which is something that I think is vastly underrated for Lost when it comes to his game knowledge and the way he plays the game, right? And so, you have all of that, plus you have Power of Evil, who has a mage that can get around, that can scale, that can still have an impact at different points of the game. And I think, okay, this is a really good team comp for us. I like the build of everything. And there's just enough aggression from the members who want to be aggressive, while those who maybe want to sit back and play a little bit more cerebrally, which I don't even know if that's a word, but, both of our carries are people who like to play more with their brain instead of just jumping in, or like Huni and Spica. That's not to say they're not intelligent, because they are, but the way they play the game is vastly different from Lost and Power of Evil. I don't know. I could go on and on and on and on. I think there's a lot of depth and a lot of good decision making with this composition, and it's one that I would like to see more often. Truly. Again, they ban the Rel or you just pick Galio. I mean, there's so many ways for us to play this style of composition, and I think it's like a perfect culmination of what we've been seeing, where we want better early games, right? But still have the scaling of the late games that we want. It's like a good marriage of those two styles. And we see that in this game. So, we get a really nice roam from Spica into the mid lane. Power of Evil is absolutely just making Triple's life miserable. This Rise is he's understanding the poke damage, he's understanding the way to push. You can tell he's been practicing this champion. He looks good in lane against a LeBlanc, which is, I mean, it's not a bad matchup for a LeBlanc, I don't think. I mean, there's the lockdown, but you got to be able to get two things on LeBlanc very quickly before you can even get the Rune Prison in time for Triple could easily jump out. LeBlancs are normally too fast for that. So I love seeing this, and I love that Spica goes in. Sure, Power of Evil ends up dying because NXI just happens to be right there as well, but whatever. I think that, the fact that Spica is able to get an early kill, plus the first blood, Power of Evil is able to get the assist. He's up in CS. All these things are great. But then literally at the exact same time, Huni solo kills an Irelia as freaking Nocturne, which is showing to me that he understands the matchup. Because, just so you guys know, Irelia had some big changes. She is going to be in the meta probably till the end of the year at this point, unless if they decide to randomly nerf her before Worlds. I don't think she's strong enough for that. But she has scaling now. She's more of a bruiser type champion than necessarily like a full-on assassin. She still does plenty of damage. She still has a lot of cool things about her. But, they made it so it's easier and there's more reaction time for her stun. And so, if Huni, which he shows in this game, is able to spell shield, it makes it really hard for her to be able to play against Lost. Because, when she doesn't have that passive stack onto her opponent, she gets one dash, and then it's a really long cooldown. And when I say really long, I mean it's like 15 seconds, I think, at level 1. So, a really nice early kill there for Huni. along with the kill in the Spica, and you're thinking, all right, things are going well. Then we have this incredible 4-man dive into the bot lane. We get a kill. We aren't able to get Diamond, but we're able to get Tomo. Things are snowballing really well for us. Get another great kill in the top lane. Drake's a little later than I would have liked. But then, Lost is up in CS. And he gets the tower. And it's like, this has got to be one of the best early games we've ever had. And the best part about an early game like this is what I'm talking about. This is why this comp to me, I mean, you all mostly know the results of this game. But regardless of the results, that's why I love this comp so freaking much. There is the opportunity to win a lot of things in the early game. We have great lanes picked all across. Like, seriously, this is check in every part of the draft and every part of our early game as well. And we have the scaling. There's rarely a better combo for scaling into the late game and being able to dish out that consistent damage than Ryze and Aphelios. And when you have the burst damage from a Diana and from a Nocturne, and you have the engage and the hard CC of Rel, like, seriously, guys, I cannot express this enough. Even into all the dashes and all the things that FlyQuest have to give away, this game should have been won at draft. But then there's some mistakes that start happening in our mid game, which is kind of where things normally drop off. Huni sees triple. He knows that he's kind of caught to a certain degree. And instead of ulting to try to get away, which I think he could have done, or at least just gotten out in general, he goes on to triple. He's not able to get the kill. NXI's there again, and he dies. Then they get a couple towers, and they're pushing into the top lane. And even when we have a gold lead, which is me, and they try to dive onto Power of Evil's Ryze. He plays it so well. His flash is great. He waits until, Huni can be in range to ult, and uses his stopwatch there. The rest of the team goes in. Realm Warp from PoE is so good to get everybody back into the fight. It's just, they get the early Baron. Everything is working here, even after like a bad play from Huni. The rest of the team is there. They're just, oh my god, it's so good. Honestly, like, it's just, and like, Power of Evil looks comfortable on this pick that he's really not used all that much, especially lately. And I'm sitting here and I'm wondering, what else can we expect from this team? When they're playing so well at this point, and it's sad because I know that everybody's going to probably be like, oh, well, it's TSM, like, blah, blah, blah. And, they're not, they should be playing this well against a team like that, but whatever. I mean, like, guys, you got to understand. I talked about this at the very beginning of the year. Like, this is so significant for us. Power of Evil playing on the Ryze, that was only his 9th game in his career. He's played Varus mid and Kog'Maw mid more than he has played that. And he hadn't brought the Ryze out in forever. He hadn't brought the Ahri out, which we'll talk about next game, in forever. And it's like his Ryze was really even that good leading up into this game. Yet, he plays it so well. Like, you have to understand, Orianna, he almost has 100 games on Orianna. He has almost 75 games on Syndra. Almost 50 games on Azir. Almost 50 games on Victor. 26 games on LeBlanc, 25 games on Cassiopeia, and then the Ahri, had 20 games, along with a Corki at 19. Like, this man plays a lot of the same champions. While he does, play some diverse champions when he needs to, without a doubt, we've seen it. We know he can. It's cool to see when some of these champions that he normally plays aren't as meta, are able to get played more. I'm actually a little surprised we haven't seen a Cassiopeia. I think she actually does. I saw somebody using her recently. I forget in which league it was. But it actually looked pretty good. I was like, huh. That's not a bad idea with all these jumps and everything. I mean, makes it really hard for an Akali to do as much. It's not great in the early game, but like, in the late team fights with her rooting W. But anyways, I want to express again how important this game was. Although now I'm going to get into it. We're in the top lane, and we're pushing with this Baron, which is great. And we're getting ready. We're trying to push down the tower, and we want to do a couple different things. But this is where everything goes wrong. Huni ults. We were able to, get the objective, but at the same time, Aphelios was also down. He missed. And so, because they're playing intelligently and they are in good communication, they understand Huni's all the way in the mid lane. He has no way to jump into a fight now. All 5 of them are there, and there's no ultimate from the Aphelios. And I believe somebody else's ultimate was down here too. I want to say maybe Sword Arts. No, it wasn't. Anyways, but like, as soon as they see the opportunity, we should have had Realm Warp ready to go. I think for some reason we thought that we could fight this, and they just wipe us. And Huni gets in there late. Luckily, he's able to get a kill. Like, we get, I think, 2 kills back, but then they're able to just chase Huni down. He's able to live forever, which is awesome. But then disaster follows with disaster. Like, we're in such bad positions while the rest of our team aren't there. And this is where the communication comes in. The rest of our team aren't in the same spot. And so, the Diana gets caught, and the instant call should have been, hey, we don't need this Drake. Everybody just back off, right? We don't need to compound this bad mistake into another mistake. Yet, Huni TPs, he jumps in, everybody else, and most importantly, Sword Art, are gone. Like, Sword Art, Lost, Power of Evil, they're all walking away at this point. But then he goes in, they try to turn it around, even though literally, like, Sword Art can't do anything at this point. He's already used his ult. He's in his human form, or whatever, his walking form, where he's slow as heck. They just chase us down, and the death timers, by the way, at 25 minutes, I guess it must hit, like, right at that time where the death timers start going up, because I was shocked that our death timers were, like, 25 seconds at this point. They're able to just run it down mid. And there's nothing we could do. I mean, it's unbelievable. This game was literally in hand, and then we just gave up back-to-back major mistakes and had the unfortunate timing for our death timers, and the next thing you know, it's over. It's just game over. I don't know. It's very strange. FlyQuest literally never had a chance to win that game until the back-to-back bad mistakes. And the first one's really not even that big of a deal. It was unfortunate, but not the end of the world. The second one is where it's egregious, and not something that needs to be allowed or should have ever happened. Either way, we move on to the IMT game. And we'll get picks and bans here. It looks like Xin is just banned whenever we're on red side, which I believe we were on red side all weekend, by the way, which is kind of crazy. But we do the Aurelia ban. We see that maybe it's not so great late game because she did get pretty tanky at the end. We also finally banned the Akali, thank God. The Ziggs goes through. The Gwen goes through. The Lee Sin goes through. That's fine, honestly. Like, those 3 damage sources, while independent of each other, are pretty good. I don't really fear them super much in a team fight. But I love that we are prioritizing the Diana and the Kalista. I think that those are good picks. We give the Gwen, but hey, we got Diana, we've got Kalista. Spica, they do this with Spica a lot, where it's, hey, Spica finds a jungler that he is excellent on, And they are going to priority pick it every single time it's available. And I think that there's good and bad about this. Obviously, like, there's good in the sense that teams are, or that we are confident that no matter what is played into the Diana, that Spica is going to be able to, play it well. I think that's part of our draft strategy here with that. But there's also the point where teams are going to realize that they are going to have to ban this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised starting next week if Diana does not get banned against us. And at that point, it comes to, okay, what is he going to play next, right? Is he going to play the Viego? Is he, going to play the Trundle if we needed to? Right? There's the Sejuani, potentially, which I know he doesn't really probably want to do, but hey, if Xin Zhao gets left up, obviously, I'm assuming we take that if we're on blue side. There's a lot of different ways for us to play, and I know he can play Nocturne 2 in the jungle, which is a good flex, and the Lee Sin. But the Diana's gonna get banned, and so now we got to work on a strategy based around that. And I think we saw that this weekend. I mean, we did double AP all weekend long, so showing, hey, we don't need that melee. We don't need the AD stuff in the mid lane. We don't care. We will get enough damage out of Lost and out of Huni. And that's the thing is, like, you guys got to realize, like, things like the Nocturne and the Diana, we picked it, I believe, all weekend long, almost all weekend long. We picked the Diana all weekend. TL did make the adjustment to ban the Nocturne from Huni, but then he just pulled out the Jace. Anyways, our draft is slowly growing. It's making more sense because, we have, like, when our top three are Diana, Callista, and Nocturne into a Ziggs, Gwen, Lee Sin, I actually like our comp a heck of a lot more than I like theirs. We banned the Tristana, which is awesome. I said I was going to get Galio into this naturally. They banned the Galio and the Lucian against us. Now, let me tell you something, IMT, in case you're listening to this podcast, okay? We don't play Galio. We can, and we should, but we don't. We don't play Galio. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you why. And if you want to listen to all 50 episodes before this, and most of them I mention Galio, because I do think that he fits a lot of the comps and the styles that we like to play, but hey, we don't play him. So you shouldn't have banned him. Then they go and ban even a more out there ban of Lucian. Hey, guys, let me get up real close here. We don't play Lucian. Power of Evil's Lucian is pretty bad, actually. So why you banning it, dude? I don't know. I just laughed a lot. We get this. We get the Sword Art Leona, which is his pride and joy. He plays it very well. You pair it along with a Callista, and it's like, it's a beautiful. It's got strong lockdown capabilities. Can go right past the Alistar. Can get onto the Ziggs. Lock it down. Can get onto the Kayn, which was a weird pick. Lock that down. And then we pick the Ahri. I love this into Lee Sin. I think this is such a good tech because when you think about it, right? Like, Lee Sin has to get up in your face, even if it's a Q, right? And the thing is like, when Lee Sin hits the Q, he's going to try to jump in. And all you have to do as Ahri is press E right into his face. No chance for a kick. No chance for any other damage. I mean, seriously, as soon as he gets that kick in, it's E, W, and Q. You can hit all three of them. And almost guaranteed hit the Lee Sin. And the next thing you know, he's just probably at half health at a minimum, potentially nearing death. And even if he tries to go for a kick at that point, you just ult away or ult past him. Or whatever you want to do. And the clear is so good. Now, he doesn't go with the tech of the I think it's Winter's Grasp or whatever it is, the cone where it shoots out, which I think is really good for Ahri. Instead, he goes with Leandri's to be able to put on the burn. Bring the burn. Or feel the burn, whatever. Which I like to a certain degree as well. I think it provides more damage. And he doesn't really need the cone of ice. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This was probably my favorite pick of the weekend, even though I was so excited about the Rise. Anywho, early game comes. Great gank top. I mean, really, really nice gank top for us. It's sad that Huni dies, but there's just not much he can do. And there's another great gank, in the top lane. Huni stays too long, unfortunately, at this point. But luckily, PoE and Spica are just busted in the head. They're so good. This Ahri, again, God, it was so good to see so much damage out of Power of Evil and so much agency. He left his lane so much with these picks, which is something I was begging him to do. Get the push, get out into lane, dude. This was nice. Sword Art's doing what he does best. He shows up, they turn around, they get a couple kills. Things are looking good. Get the top tower, too. Yes. First Drake at 12 minutes, though. I don't understand why we were doing Drakes so late. I'll jump into that a little bit later, but yeah. Don't really know exactly what happened there. Great response by Power of Evil later in this game here to get some kills. The whole team's diving top. Yeah, he TPs into the center of 4 of them. I think 4 or 5. But, again, his Ahri's clean, man. He's able to dip, dodge, and dive most of everything. And he jumps in and out, gets a couple kills on the back end, And Huni's able to live for so long, And I love the fact that he's going Gore Drinker instead of Stridebreaker. I know Stridebreaker is still good on him. But Gore Drinker, for the purposes of the way the TSM are playing this weekend, I think was a smarter choice. Allowing him to live longer, allowing him to still be able to pump out the damage and be almost more of like a tank Nocturne, to be honest with you guys. That's kind of what he's doing here. He jumps in, he gets the fear, his passive procs, he's able to get the heal plus the damage around him. He gets low, he uses the Gore Drinker, he's able to live a lot longer. There's a lot of things to like about the way that he did this. I know it's a pretty common build now, but still. Huni TPs onto the minion, as Raze is doing his thing. He's able to get the kill onto him. Love it. Even with the tower going down, it's just a smart play by him. Sword Art was roaming up too. That allowed for, the rest of Immortals who were actually kind of surrounding Huni at that point to not be able to do anything. Really nice. And then we're going for this Rift Herald. With only 3 members, and Immortals are realizing that they just have to group because there's not a whole lot they can do against this comp. Again, great comp for us. And everybody but Raze is there. They get onto us. They're able to kill Huni and Lost. But while they're chasing them down, Spica and Power Evo are just like, whatever, we'll take both your mid towers and we'll kill Raze on top of it. Thanks to Power of Evil. Which I love the tech, and I know it's not hard tech, but I just love the fact that he knows and is showing his knowledge on the champion when he jumps in with his R, hits the guaranteed E by being literally right in Raze's face because he knows there's no way he's going to be able to react in time to get away. So good, if you ask me there. Love it. Let me see here. Sorry, I lost where I was here for a second. All right. So then we have another great turnaround where and this is in the mid lane, where we're able to get a couple kills and Lost is able to play this team fight so unbelievably well. once he joins. Like, he's jumping in and out. He's, helping Sword Art, get into a better position. He's jumping across the walls. He's doing all the things that we kind of need him to do. And I want to give some credit to Lost, especially in this matchup here. Until Callista gets Runaan's Hurricane, her clear is not terrible because of the Q, being able to, take all of her spears and throw them through. But everything has to be kind of lined up for that to work as well. And this whole game, Sword Art is all over the place in a good way. Like, he's helping out mid, he's helping out top, he's helping out in the jungle, everywhere except for bot. And his turret, by the way, even with no support, and even with Destiny not really roaming all that much, and with a Ziggs who destroys turrets and who has unbelievable wave clear, Lost has not only a CS advantage, but his tower is the last one alive at the end of this game. Like, guys, I'm going to dive into this a little bit later. Like I like to do. I like to set up a couple things through this, and then we talk about it when we're going over things overall. Lost is playing this weak side so responsibly and so well. I know it's not huge impact, but I promise you, this is exactly what we want. All right, that's the first part of that rant. We'll go into it a little bit later. We have 3 Drakes stacked, even though we took our sweet time getting the first one. Could have had 4 at this point. But then we kind of screw around. We're not doing much up until that 3rd Drake. We take it, still not doing a whole lot. And then finally, like, Sword Art is tired of this. He sets up IMT. They turn around near Baron. We get a quick kill. And then we kind of do nothing again. But then IMT are just in mid lane. Only 3 members. I don't know what they're doing. They've seen a couple of our players. And yet they just, I don't know, they make a stupid decision. They're just there. And Huni, again, just great mindset, great understanding of his champion. Ults first, then TP's in, meaning there's no way for Insanity to jump into this fight. And TSM are able to just wipe the floor. Just wipe the floor with them, with IMT. It's just so nice to see. We get the Cloud Soul, love it. But then we're fumbling around with the Baron, and PoE says, I got this. He gets the bottom tower, the bottom inhibitor. Then he gets the tower. Like, IMT just jump right on the Lost. There's not much Lost can do, against this. He saves Sword Art from just dying as well as him. And we get this bot tower because they can't answer Power of Evil's Ahri at this point. He's just too strong. We finally get triple inhib. We're kind of losing the fight. But then, like, even though we're able to turn because they've got the super minions like barreling into their base from all 3 sides. And while the rest of the team is at, oh, this is so great. While the rest of the team is doing Baron, Power of Evil notices that Raze gets a little too close to the wall, kills him. Right? It's just so easy, and everybody's like, oh, he just killed Raze? Like, what the hell? Next thing you know, he jumps over the wall. Or goes around, I guess. And he sees Insanity in the mid lane, and he just kills him too. And it ends the game. While the rest of the team's just off doing whatever, Power of Evil's like, I'll go troll around. I'll get a couple kills. This man is a monster. Like, there are so many games where I'm kind of like, what is he doing? There's not a whole lot going on. But when he's, like, engaged and able to be unhinged and unleashed, dude, this guy gets it done. It's awesome. God, it was so good to see this Ahri game. I mean, he was, seriously, guys, he was so good on it. And, this gives him another, sorry. throat's dry talking so much. I'm so excited about this game because back-to-back games we see him on Rise and Ari. Two champions that, yeah, he's played a combined like 30 games on, right? But he hadn't brought them out all year. When there were times that, Ari was in the meta at one point. Like in a big way. Remember we lost to it? Rise has been in the meta for weeks. And we finally it feels like we are finally caught up in a meta where we need to be caught up. Just, it's beautiful to see. Especially, like, after the big throws during the FlyQuest game. Then we play IMT. We get the win that we need. We go 5-0 against them this year. And then we head into Team Liquid. A team that hasn't been bad, but hasn't been good. They've struggled this year. So now we're into the draft. And I'm looking at this. I'm like, okay, ban the Viego. We banned the Irelia. I don't really understand the Viego instead of the Akali here. Really wouldn't have loved to have given Jensen Akali, but that's okay. They pick the Varus. They pick the new TK as support, which, by the way, doesn't give Varus much support until level 6. Right? Because he doesn't have his Eat anymore as a normal ability. He only has it as his ult now. Love seeing that teams are banning Nocturne against us, as well as the Kalista. Don't really understand the Lee Sin ban, but hey, we take it. I don't really know why we didn't take Thresh instead of the Jace. Well, I shouldn't say I don't know why. I don't completely agree with it, but I do understand why. Jace into Gangplank is normally a better matchup. I shouldn't say pretty good, but better matchup for Jace, generally speaking, unless if it's against Alphari's GP, which is no fun, because he's very good with it. They get the Trundle. Which, looking at our team, I don't understand the Trundle pick here, to be honest with you guys. Like, Trundle's biggest thing is that he is a tank buster. Now, I guess it's possible that they were... I don't know. I guess maybe they were thinking that Jace could go mid or something. I don't know. Like, it's not... Again, it doesn't... Like, his ultimate doesn't really tear anybody down all that much on our team, from being some tanky, craziness. If anything, I think Trundle would have been better into their team, just to, make the Tahm Kench useless. Anyways, they also get the TF, which should have been better than it was. Like Leona, I like it a lot, actually, because the Varus can't really escape, and you don't have the Eat from Tahm Kench right away, or any time, basically in the game. So, I think that it's really nice for the Leona to be able to get onto the backline there. We end up picking Azir. I still would have preferred Rise. I do think Azir, obviously, gets the push and has a better time against TF than maybe Rise does, right off the bat. But Rise is able to move with it. I personally think it would have been better, but the team fighting ability from Azir is kind of what we were going for, and we obviously see that it works. Oh, and by the way, the Sedge ban from us was really smart. I really, really liked that ban. I thought that was super intelligent because, seeing the TK and the Gangplank already, you put a Sejuani with that, and dude, team fights are rough with that Sejuani passive. Plus, you have no idea what Jensen's going. Easily could have taken, Akali or something else, and then you have 3 melees
plus a Sejuani. And, yeah, it's not a good time. Not a good time. Speaking of not good times, Huni not having a good time. Alfari's, I mean, his gangplank is legendary. It's like one of the best single champions in the LCS on a specific person. Huni's kind of used to be similar, but not ever, I don't think. Not ever, I should say. Not recently as good. TL are clearly playing towards Alfari. Luckily, Spica and PowerV will arrive on time to dissuade anything more than they get the kill on to Huni. Huni, I think, does a really good job of delaying. It's kind of sad, though, that PoE TPs and doesn't even get the assist, but at least him being there, I guess, does something, because Spica chases down the Trundle and gets him, which is nice. We have our earliest Drake of the weekend at 9 minutes, folks. If you would have put a bet on that, I would have told you were out of your mind. Bot lane has good push, which Aphelios kind of should, but even still. Then we make this great play top to get Huni right back in, because he's like 15 CS down. Things are not looking great for him. It's looking like he's going to be relatively irrelevant. And the team comes in and they're like, all right, let's go get this. A 4-man dive. They get Alfari. Spica gets the kill. Huni gets the tower. And Huni's right back in this game. And that's what good teams do, by the way. When you know that you can do that because the rest of your lanes are doing okay, then you can get the one person who's not doing as well back in the game and makes your team as a whole strong, especially when you want somebody like Huni being able to have an impact around the map. You get his tower, you unlock him. You get him caught up in CS. You do all these things, right? You get him an assist after being bullied relentlessly by Alfari and TL. It's just super smart. Really nice. Outside of that, though, it's a pretty quiet early game for us, considering especially lately how we've been playing our early games. We get into the mid game after that tower goes down in the top lane. And Armeo sees... And he has backup of Core JJ, right? But they see an lone Azir just out in the wild. Wrong. Sword Art and Spica are right there. And Armeo's dead pretty much instantly. And Spica's just starting to get even more gold. I mean, this kid, it's like, hey, give him all the gold you can. He's going to do stuff with it. Then at 19 minutes, after most of this game's been not fun for Huni, right? We talked about this. They got him back in the game. And at 19 minutes, he has a lead over a Gangplank. Which I understand. The mid game is much stronger for the Jace. I get it. But considering how bad that lane had been going, the fact that he was able to catch up in CS and that the rest of the team was there to help him was just awesome. We got 3 Drakes. Spica is really smart. He plays it really well. Tacticals, using the Varus arrow to try to take stuff. They aren't able to get it. He waits till it's about 200 health after, the arrow shot, then takes it. Super smart. We're dancing around Soul, and Huni is just poking down Tactical. He has to run out of the fight. He has no shot, and we just get Soul. After that, Jensen TPs into the top lane with TF ult. I should say TF ults. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I truly think that there are more games where Jensen is useless than he is useful. Like, he's solid. He holds down his lane. He's not bad. It's just, for the amount that they're paying him, for how much he is hyped up, he just doesn't always make the big plays. And he just doesn't really do anything. I mean, in this TF game, seriously. Like, the whole thing is, as soon as he hits 6, it's like Nocturne, dude. He should be all over the damn place. He's not. He never was, almost the entire game. And then we're in the top lane again. A lot of top lane stuff happening this week. Wonder why. And like, holy moly, what a turn by us. Right? Lost is kiting this really well. Sword Art says go. We get onto him. Huni gets into the back lane, gets a kill. And then Power of Evil, instead of getting greedy, pushes Armeo and Tactical into a Spica ult to kill Tactical. And it is literally BEA beautiful. It's amazing. This team fight here. Everybody is doing their role so freaking well. We get on to Baron. Tactical misses his ult once he comes back. And Sword Art yet again says, let's go. He jumps right into the middle of three of them. PoE, flashes, incredible stream and shuffle. Lost has the first of a couple great ults. Huni and Spica jump in with the Diana ult. I mean, seriously, it's a damn near perfect team fight. Sword Art goes down, but whatever. We get the Baron for free. We do so much damage. Our Wombo combo is insane. We don't play it super well. Like, we do have a problem breaking over open bases, I think. I think sometimes we spread ourselves too thin. And then in other times we don't spread ourselves out enough. Like, I think we still need to work on that. But we go against this Elder Drake, and we're kind of low. Like, Lost, or Spica, has had to ult out. You know, and Power of Evil has had to shuffle out. But we've baited out at the time the TF ult, which is really good by Spica. We bait out the Varus ult, which is also great. And we bait out the GP ult, and nobody has died yet. And yet we have everything. And just as they're starting to turn on to the Elder Drake because it's getting low, they know that Spica is barely alive at this point because he's been poked out so much. Lost says, hey guys, it's my turn to do something. And oh my god. He ults with the Infernum Fire 1 that spreads out and just like wipes TL off the map. I mean, it is like one of the most perfect ults we could have asked for. Everybody jumps in and you combine it with the Huni empowered Q. Leona ults on top of it. I mean, it is just beautiful. Again, just beautiful. TL get the Elder, but it doesn't matter. They get one kill off of it. We wipe them out. Double TP into the base and just end the game. And it's just so nice to see that we are able to play such a controlled, such a good style of League of Legends in this IMT and TL games. And realistically in the FlyQuest game, I mean, you take that second mistake there from the team. And that doesn't happen. I think we end up winning that game. You know, we're truly one play away from a 3-0 weekend, which would have been nice. It would have tied us with 100 Thieves, but whatever. But, like, I even with Santorin, I don't know that TL would have done much in this game. I mean, we just won it from beginning to end. We knew what we wanted to do, we communicated it, and we played it well. This is a TSM Legends I am going to want to see. I want to know what they changed. Because last week's felt pretty meh. But I assume this next one's going to be good. Overall thoughts here. We're going to get these couple bad ones out of the way. One of the things that TSM do, and we talked about it already today, is the major mistakes, right? But the problem is it's never like just one bad mistake. For some reason, we love to compound our mistakes. One bad mistake into another bad mistake. And then the game's over, even though you were up by so much. And we've done this all year long. There has got to be a point where somebody on this team says, stop. Let's take a deep breath. We still have basically all of our towers up. We're still up in Drakes. We are still up in everything. We can give up this Drake. We don't have to fight them separated. Even with Spica getting killed. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. And somebody has to be that voice on this team. At some point, and this is something I learned from Mark, who plays on our league team, at some point you have to just take the small wins, right? Or at some point you have to just accept the reality of the situation and, live to fight another day kind of a thing. And we have talked about this with this team, right? Where I've also done the baseball stuff where I discussed it, as, hey guys, like, we, how do I put this? You don't want to compound one mistake into a second one. When you're fielding a ground ball and you boot it, which means you drop it or something, whatever way you want to think of it, you don't throw the ball to first base wildly. You don't, want to make a bad throw where it's going to go over the head or, lead to the runner not only getting on first base when they shouldn't have in the first place, but then sometimes they get second or third. You don't want to continuously make mistake on top of mistake. And at some point, somebody on this team has to be the leader and say, no, we are not going to do that anymore. I don't know who it is. And I really don't care who it is because they have plenty of strong enough voices on there to where they can learn to curtail their natural instinct to fight and just take a deep breath and relax. Second negative of the weekend is dragon stacking late. I don't mind it if we can't get to the first one early. If they get it, right? If the other team gets it. But we had bot push and mid push almost all weekend. And I understand that Spica's living up in the top lane doing his thing. I get it. But when we have Callista and you know where their jungler's at and you have the push, just go get it. Or even when you have Aphelios, just go get it and burn it down. Or call Spica down and get the dragon earlier. I see no reason why we should be getting dragons after 9 and 10 minutes. No reason. Especially when they're free. We've talked about this. Like there's no reason for dragons to not be a priority. They are important. And you don't know what the soul is going to be. And especially when there's a cloud and a mountain drake early, which is what happened in 2 of our games. Like that makes you know, okay, there's a good chance this could be Infernal or Ocean. 2 of the best souls in the game. Especially for the way we play our team comps, like those would have been pretty good. And we ended up getting soul in one game, and we were fighting for it in another. But the point remains, we can give ourselves a better advantage by doing some of those things just a little bit earlier. It's a small critique, but I feel like it's a good constructive one. On to the positives. 5-0 against Team Liquid in the regular season, guys. 5-0. And they only didn't have Alfari for 1 game of those 5. For 1 game. Obviously, not having Santorin for, I think it was 2 of the 3, I want to say. At the end of the split is not great. Still wishing him the best. He's a good human being. And migraines are no joke. So hopefully they'll figure out what's wrong with him. Make that boy feel better because he deserves it. He's a good boy. But being 5-0 against TL is such a great feeling for us. And like I said, I mean, this pushes TL into the dirt. They were the only team of the top 5 that won their first game on Friday, whatever. But then they lost back-to-back games. They lost to 100 Thieves. They lost to us. And if nothing else, that is demoralizing because they don't get another chance against either of us. Not that it mattered. We both had the head-to-head to them. But now they know, but they probably are thinking to themselves, they should know, but they probably don't know it. They probably are thinking about it, that they can't beat us. That there are 2, maybe 3 top teams in the league. Well, realistically 4 now. And they're not one of them. Sucks to suck, guys, but you're not one of them. You can cross that one off the list. Now it's a 4-team race in my mind. We only have to be better than one of these teams to get to Worlds. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is that we get to Worlds this year, guys. We have got to make up for last year. We have got to make up for it. I don't care about an LCS title. It's great. We've won those, okay? We have the ability to not care as much as 100 Thieves or Evil Geniuses or even to a certain extent Cloud9. We've walked away with those trophies. Our goal is to succeed at Worlds. And yes, winning the LCS makes it more likely that we will succeed. I get that. Totally understand it. But we have to get there first. There is a chance that Team Liquid flips a switch once playoffs comes. No doubt about it. But right now, when I'm looking at these teams, I'm not as afraid of them as any of the other 3 teams. So because of that, we can take them out. Everybody below them, don't need to worry about them. Doubt we're going to see FlyQuest, in the playoffs. God, I hope we don't see FlyQuest in the playoffs. That would be a nightmare. Now we just have to figure out, are we better than Cloud9, Evil Geniuses, or 100 Thieves? Just one of them. We don't have to be better than all 3. Just one. Just enough to get us into Worlds. Talking about Lost, people have been giving Lost some shit. I understand it. But honestly, he is playing the weak side really well. This team is focused on top lane. They want to get Huni ahead. By getting Huni ahead, they generally are getting Spica ahead. Power of Evil is most of the time at least able to stay even or get a little bit ahead as well. And that's great. And we've seen that we can play through Lost when we want to. But we haven't. And guess what? He is doing well. He's not dying, which I would like to remind you is kind of the point of playing weak side. It's to not be super far behind and to not die. Let me go over his deaths this weekend. 2 deaths in the first game. A losing effort, by the way. 2 deaths in the second game. And a winning effort. No deaths in the third game. 4 deaths in 3 games for your AD carry. Now, yeah, is he pumping out all the damage that we were like, no, not really. But is he making plays when we need to? Absolutely. He's being a supportive type AD carry in a non-supportive meta. It's not like we have Jhin and Ashe in the meta. But he's still filling a role. Is it a glamorous role? Is it one that we're going to be writing about? Lost, one of the great all-time AD carry performances in 2021 for TSM. No. But is he doing his job? In my opinion, yes. Because he's getting out into the side lanes and getting the push. He is, keeping other AD carries from being able to have an impact in the game. And even when they go and they do something, he's getting the push. He's getting the towers. Is it spectacular like Huni or Spica or Power of Evil or even Sword Art? No. But there are people who are role players on teams. When you have 5 people who are all egotistical and all trying to make plays and all trying to be the star, it doesn't work. You need to have those kinds of people who are willing to take a back seat. Sword Art's one of them, honestly. Yes, he makes a lot of plays, but he is more focused on the team performing well. I understand that is his job, but there are a lot of supports that sometimes I think forget that. And Lost is left alone in his lane very often when TSM are finding success. And yet he's not giving up turrets. He's not dying. He's just quietly CSing and doing what needs to be done. And there has to be something good said about that. So, I am saying it. And I hope the rest of you will too. He's probably a top 5 AD carry. The stats may not show it, but the stats don't show it for our whole team, guys. That is just not who we are. And that's fine. So give Loss some love instead of giving him some shit. Because it could be a lot worse. It could be a lot worse. And I think that part of it comes from the fact that we're so used to our AD carries being these hyper carries because of, Double Lift and Wild Turtle. They epitomized the carry portion of that role. And then we saw, with Kabe, when he came, it didn't work as well for us because he didn't play the side lane as well. He didn't play the weak side as well. He was just useless. And when called upon, he didn't act. And by the way, Kabe's a great player. He just didn't work with our system. He didn't work with the players we had. And now we have this new system. We have these new players. And Loss is able to do what we need him to. Which is, hey, when we need a big freaking Ophelio assault, there you go. Like, Ophelios is way more useful after, 20 minutes. Most of our wins, we're winning in 25 to 28 minutes. So, he is just starting to get useful on some of these champions when we're already ending the game because the rest of the team's doing so well. He's a great fallback plan. Even when we played the Kog'Maw Lulu, right? Did he have a bunch of kills? No. Was his consistent pressure and his ability to make plays in his lane great? Yeah. When Sword Art decides to play in lane and do a 2v2, does he get kills? Yeah. The team just doesn't fight around him. They don't bring him into a lot of fights because they don't need him to. It's better for him to farm up and be that late game insurance. So I think we're seeing a different side of an AD carry than maybe we're used to. But I still think we're finding a lot of success. And I still think that Lost is playing his role. Power of Evil showed major flexibility this weekend. Unlocking the Ryzen the Ahri when combined with all of his normal champions plus the LeBlanc takes him from being kind of a fish out of water. Oh, and by the way, he can play Viego. Forgot about that. Didn't even write that down. Didn't even think about it until now. But he can definitely play Viego if we need a melee mid laner. An AD melee mid laner. So, because Bjergsen has pushed him, he's not relying on the Orianna. Yeah, he relied on the Azir one game, but whatever. Syndra's really not in the meta that much. Hasn't been able to play her. Victor is getting banned. Victor's not as good into a lot of these champions, but he's still making it work when he needs to. Power of Evil's an incredible player. And it's taking me a little bit to see some of these things. But I think what's made him better, and I think the reason why he's going to stay with TSM as long as he can, is Bjergsen is making him a better player, and we are starting to see the results of that. He is putting him into some champions and stuff that maybe he hasn't played in a while, that maybe he's not as comfortable with. But that flexibility is what's going to make us a much better team. When we can reliably understand that he is going to be there when we need him most, I love it. I love it. Couple more things here. Spica, the discussion about him being MVP needs to start happening now. I don't care if he's playing one champion. I don't care if he's playing 10 champions. The kid is making plays. And should we finish in first place, I think a lot of it will be off of his back and a lot of his plays that he has made. I've been critical of him of not doing what we need him to do at times. And him not being, I don't know, as participatory in his games as we would like. But He is now a top 3 player when it comes to kill participation. 73% of the time he is participating in kills. And he is getting nearly 30% of the kill share for our team. By the way, that is highest in the league outside of Darduck, because Darduck, didn't play most of the season. He's not dying much. He's a part of 50% or more of the First Bloods. His laning stats have gotten immensely better. The kid is really starting to come into his own. And I think it's time to start talking about him for MVP. I hope you guys agree. Hooney played better this weekend. Yeah, he had a couple boneheaded plays, but so did the rest of the team. Comms were generally better too, which is what we needed. We needed to see that the team was able to be on the same page. They were about 2 or 3 seconds off last couple weeks on, what they needed to do when making plays. But now they seem to be in a lot better ability in terms of team fighting, which was one of their strengths. And I think they can ride this into the playoffs and start making the plays necessary to get us to Worlds, to hopefully, as well as Worlds, get us an LCS championship. Whew. All right. With that, if you like this show, please take a second to like, subscribe, and comment on YouTube. Hit that bell icon so you don't miss another episode. Thank you for your continued support on all podcasting platforms. Please share this with your friends. You can find us on Twitter at TGH Robert Haynes or at the Gamehouse's Twitter at TGH Esports. Lastly, head to thegamehouse.com and head to our TSM page under the Esports and League of Legends tabs. You can see all the different TSM content, all the different power rankings, all that stuff. Again, plenty of sports content, plenty of other esports content. Go give it a look. Thanks for tuning in. This show comes out every Monday and Thursday and is exclusively for your TSM earholes. I'm Robert Haynes, and this has been Talking TSM. I'll see you on Thursday.